Kings, queens, and non-binary royalty, we meet again, but this time for the first time. Today, we're going to be talking about Stronghold Legends, which is the only RTS game that I have played where you can use the free flow of alcohol to make people forget about the massive amounts of taxes that they have to pay. It is a game where you can use armored polar bears to fight schizophrenic hallucinations. It is truly great, however, because you can receive messages from kings that you just violently and quickly dethroned. Stronghold Legends is a castle-building real-time strategy castle sim, where you must keep a castle economy in order to fund your castle military to stop other castles from ruining your castle economy. The game features the myths and legends of King Arthur, and the single player tells that story, which is King Arthur's adventures with the Knights of the Table Round and their fight against Dracula. That's not a joke, that's just the story. Now, what is the story of King Arthur? Well, it was written by the British, more specifically the Welsh, a province and language that I will not recognize until they stop writing things like this. They'll figure it out one day. Not in my lifetime, but that still counts as one day. Now, mind you, I know the story of King Arthur forwards and backwards. We don't have time to cover it here. All I can say is that instead of learning the lore of something profitable, like Destiny, I learned the lore of a 13th century whiny teenager hanging out with other people, an old crackhead looking for a goblet that had Jesus' spit on it. Start by placing a stockpile and granary in order to have building materials and food respectively. The main resources you need to worry about are gold, honor, popularity, and goblets. You need to have stuff like wood to build wood buildings, stone to build stone buildings, and iron to build nothing because it's better to sell. Pitch is supposed to be used to make fire traps, but there are like 2 maps that have it, and only one is slightly enjoyable. Having food and other things is used for popularity among the peasants, which, no matter how much you give them, will always talk back or complain about something. So, while managing your nice little economy, you need to have a military in order to get rid of the competition. Everybody knows the best way to get rid of competition is to kill them. You can train units from a barracks or a siege camp for sieging. The units that can be trained from a barracks are available to every faction and are as follows. Archer, the best unit. Just ask any FromSoft fan, they'll tell you. Crossbowmen, archers, but they're better. Man-at-arms, who throws a spear, then promptly dies because his knife isn't enough to defend against anything that his spear didn't kill. Macemen are fast damage dealer with light armor and get countered by walls, moats, or any simple math problems. Pikemen are useless, which is a shame because in the earlier games they were used to counter knights because they did extra damage. Now they're just worse, slower swordsmen. Swordsmen are an inaccurate representation of knight armor, and despite popular belief, you can run in it. Knights are swordsmen with horses that have 3 health but are really good, but you need honor to train them. Siege camps have units and engines for siege warfare and are as follows. Catapults, which can be used to either win by rapid deconstruction of the enemy castle or brick your human opponent's computer and maybe kill them in the fire that will definitely start from it. Battering ram. Yeah, it seems to be battering, but where's the ram? Why do I feel like I've been lied to? Well, it's because I have, because they didn't put the cool little ram ornament on the front that all the cool people put on there. Siege towers, a machine I don't use because I believe in the good old days when buildings didn't move. Laddermen, the backbone of any siege if you don't use more useful units. They can be used to have units climb the enemy walls, hellhounds included. Now, why we draw the line at polar bears, I don't really know. Portable shields are a super useful tool to block damages to your siege equipment. However, I don't use them because I have only two brain cells to rub together, and not the 3 required to make good strategic decisions. So I usually just let archers pick off my catapults and then whine about it later. Burning carts, whose main use is to violate the Geneva Convention. However, if you set them to attack something, they will immediately set themselves on fire because the AI is like a 13th century peasant, so I guess they did a really good job programming it. But it doesn't piss me off any less. And a weird, large plank of wood called a cat, which can be used, it's a big portable shield, that's all it is, it's a big portable shield. Finally, you have the special units that can be trained at a special tower that each faction has. These are unique to each faction, and each has a magic user. All factions also get a dragon, which is just a conspiracy for Todd Howard to sell Skyrims. The 3 factions of this game are good, evil, and ice, which you can remember by using a simple acronym, GAY. Each faction has 2 AI characters that can be put in the games if you're like me and have no friends. The good faction is King Arthur, and I've already made clear how I feel about the British. The AI characters are King Arthur and Sir Lancelot. They have the most options when it comes to an economy, using the Lord to make candles into popularity and make popularity into bread, and using mills and wheat to make actual literal bread, to have the highest popularity and honor gain, which allows them to have the highest taxes. Trebuchets are catapults
How can
with
we
a little bit of
help?
longer range, which is good and well until you learn that once they're deployed, you can't move them. And the Enchanted Orb, which has the ability to be the worst siege unit in the game. King Arthur gets access to the Round Table, which allows the training of Merlin, some knights of the Round Table, and a green dragon. Each knight, like Lord, has a unique ability. Merlin uses lightning, and his cooldown ability zaps a very large area with ball lightning. Sir Lancelot has the ability to attack boost nearby units. Sir Bedivere has the ability to quickly deconstruct a section of wall like a Lego commercial. Sir Percival, or if you're an epic gamer, Parzival has a shockwave that knocks back all units in the area. Sir Galahad is the only way that units can be healed, which makes him extremely useful and extremely annoying to everyone else who didn't get him. Sir Gareth has the ability of seeing traps, which most AI will never deploy. Sir Gawain has the ability to use a large shield to block range attack and leaves him vulnerable to swarms of units coming to tell him kindly and respectfully they don't like him. Now, I don't mean to complain about the lineup of knights, but if it was me, I would change some of them. I would get rid of Gareth because he's annoying.
Gareth!
The main strategy of the good faction is using the knights' powers together at the right time. For example, Gawain to use his shield to protect your troop, Percival to kill and knock back all troops on a section of wall, and Bedivere to knock down the wall. The exact opposite of the good faction, however, is the evil faction. The evil faction hails from the hellscape known as Eastern Europe. The AI characters are Vlad the Impaler, the average Romanian that tries to take something that doesn't belong to him, and Mordred. I personally don't see why they're labeled evil. They want to get rid of Britain. That's not very evil. Oh, wait, no. They want to rename England to Sexland. Yeah, no, they're evil. Their special units are varied compared to the good faction, and are actually unique, unlike the ice factions. Their tower is a sorcerer tower, which has units that look like they've been pulled straight out of a Sam Raimi movie. And I'm disappointed, that Bruce Campbell is not one of them. Werewolves are fast-moving units that destroy units faster than furries destroy their local Hilton. Demons can climb walls and set things on fire, but are really good at dying before they can reach the walls, and really good at dying on the other side of the wall when they actually get to it. Giant pit bulls, giant bats that dive bomb and blow up anything that they hit. Saxon warriors, a fast-moving unit that hails from Germany. How unfortunate. The sorcerer, which uses fireballs to hurt your own troops, and a meteor swarm that kills people before it actually lands. A dragon variant, which only difference is that it's cheaper than the green dragon. The vampiric creeper, who have a very interesting, nonsensical names. The vampiric creeper has the ability to scale walls, but has the unique ability to convert weaker enemies into your units. Any attacks from these weaker units are about as effective as sending negative energy manifestations against them. However, any of the heavier units that use metal hits harder than
Base rock hurtling down on my hip.
Stake Hurler is great for clearing walls. Don't know what something called a werewolf launcher does. Maybe you should be doing something else with your time. The Ice faction is based on German legends about treasure hunting, dwarves, dragons, and beer. The Ice faction has the theme and special units of those you would find in a hotel air conditioner. On paper, they don't look very good, having expensive special units, half of which are just the same unit with different character models. They don't get vegetables from the pantry, and they don't get bread. But the fact that they do get churches and taverns does make them a lot better than they seem. Combine that with the fact they have powerful special units that aren't just knights, and they might just be the best faction. The AI are Fraser and Niles Crane. So the Ice faction has units and the lack of an environment to grow crops, just like Seattle. Their special units are Shield Maidens, which are slow-moving shock troops, meaning I will be completely shocked if I ever meet someone who uses them. Brian Griffin from Family Guy. Polar bears, which are cool-looking but not super useful. The average 6-foot-tall man. Dwarves, white witches, and the Ice Queen, which repeatedly freezes people over and over till they die. They also get the Ice Dragon. A good strategy is to use the Ice Dragon, rush it over to an enemy castle, and freeze them to death before they have enough forces to kill it. However, not be surprised if there is some sort of cosmic punishment for it, and if you use it, you probably deserve it. Another decent strategy is to use the combo of giants with any other unit to quickly knock down walls and kill the king. The strategy is like peeing in the shower. It works, you can do it, doesn't feel right. The parts I don't like, but I put up with because I have extreme case of nostalgia towards this game. I've played this game since I was a kid, and even then I had problems with this game. But now that I'm an adult, I know how to construct complex sentences. Most of the time. I know how to construct them most of the time. First of all, selecting the faction you want to play is extremely boring. It's just not exciting. I'm not asking for fireworks and, ooh, you picked this faction, have the magic. But I want more than, look man, cycle through these and stop on the one you want. I mean, they spruced up the cursor in this game to look like a gauntlet. Like, that's cool. They don't do that anymore. Whoever balanced this game deserves a game design award. Unless... I lied. It's terrible. It's the worst balancing. It follows the RTS thing where they make one faction better against all others. The Ice faction, if used with the slightest amounts of competence, can sweep all other factions, and someone with at least somewhat decent resource management skills do pretty darn well as the good faction. The Evil faction is so unbelievably underpowered, despite having the best and most unique units in the game. The only up is that they have cheap units, but not cheap enough to offset. You will never get more than normal tax rate. Finally, the AI is super annoying. They're more aggressive than YouTube comments on Pokemon Nuzlocke videos. And the problem is only worsened by the fact that they don't have to follow the resource management thing, because no matter how many times I destroy their granary, they still come back and they destroy my hopes and dreams of not having broken walls. Speaking of AI, the unit AI and other AI are so unbelievably bad. Just look at these knights who are currently role-playing as the front right wheel of a shopping cart. And Churchill, this ox, instead of picking up the stone that he's supposed to, he instead decides to just eat rocks, backing up the entirety of my economy because he won't turn 3 feet to the right. Whatever, I'm over it until it happens again. In conclusion, I love this game. In fact, I would say it's one of my favorites. I still love it, even with its flaws, and it shows its age. But I truly do think that Stronghold Legends is the best Stronghold Legends game to ever be released. I highly recommend it if you enjoy RTS games. I give this game a 81.81% repeating and rank it slightly higher than Age of Empires 2, simply to annoy people. So, with that, until we meet again,